The Ferrari Challenge back on track at Misano Adriatico, remembering the Finali Mondiali back here in 2002. Now, however, the Finali Mondiali with a special flavour like beginnings. Because at last we're back on track after the 2020 season was interrupted due to the COVID emergency, and at the same time we're starting again for 2021. A circuit that is a guarantee of spectacle, as the most recent events in the Prancing Horse Single Make Series have also confirmed. So, in spite of everything, and with every necessary precaution, let's get ready to celebrate new winners and new champions. Let's get ready for new feelings of Emozioni Ferrari. Emozioni Ferrari. Hello, welcome to Misano. Welcome to Finali Mondiali 2020, and welcome to the Coppa Shell Race 1 of this weekend. Finali Mondiali 2020, we're in March 2021. Well, yes, of course, but this event is the reorganized and redated event from the postponed Finali Mondiali from the end of last year, which due to the emergency could not be run. So we are back together again here in Misano with the cars lined up on the grid, ready to do battle in the first of what will be 6 races across the course of this weekend that we will enjoy from the Ferrari Challenge, which of course includes 2 world finals to come. The Gold Roof races on Sunday, but we close out the 2020 season first of all with 2 races for each category, and the first of those this weekend is Coppa Shell. This is where we are then, Misano. The World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli here in Misano, and a great location. 16 turns, 6 left, 10 right-handers here, and the 3 sectors illuminated now in blue, in yellow, and in red. It is quite a technical circuit, and it's one that's very easy to run outside those track limits, so we will be keeping an eye for any penalties that race control may choose to offer during the course of the race. Air temperature 15 degrees, track temperature 13 degrees, some cloud fluttering around and some beautiful scenery around as well. This is very much a holiday destination, although of course we are out of holiday season, but it still has that holiday feel about the place. And you can just see the motorway just behind the circuit here at the World Circuit at Marco Simoncelli. So Ernst Kirchmayr did a great job in qualifying, has put the car in pole position. Alongside him is Roger Grols, who of course is the Coppa Shell champion. Alex Fox is the AM champion, and he's on the grid as well. He qualified P3 within class. And let's take a look now at some of the other attractions here at Misano this weekend. As is always the case with Finali Mondiali, some additional attractions as well. Like the XX programs, those laboratory cars from Ferrari, and also the F1 Clienti are here as well. And on Sunday, we will be seeing and hearing the wonderful sounds of the GT cars as well in terms of demonstrations. So lots of activities here as all part of a special Finali Mondiali, and as you can see, we are not many minutes away from the race getting underway. The assembled group of cars alongside the drivers, alongside the safety car, including some of our GT stars that are here. But the real stars of the show for the next hour or so will be the drivers of these cars. Werner Genter to the right-hand side of your screen in that blue and gold-coloured car as we make our way down through the grid now. The mix of Shell and Shell AM drivers who will contest 30 minutes of this hard-to-handle Misano World Circuit. left-hand side of your screen. We were just passing the car of Paul Rogers and Christopher Aitken alongside him. And then we find Kevin Milstein. And this car that we're zooming in on now is Miroslav Weibo, engineered by Scuderia Prague. So they're the Miroslav Weibo car. And Matthews is standing there. That's Miroslav's son. Matthews racing in the Trofeo Pirelli category. So it is Coppa Shell that we are going to see on track in just a few moments' time.
Ernst Kirchmeier, first pole position, a very big battle for this pole.
Absolutely. There are between 0.5 seconds, 6 or 7 drivers, so it was very, very close. It was very difficult, and I'm very happy to catch the pole, because for the world final in Sunday, it counts the fastest of the 2 races qualifying, and maybe tomorrow it's raining, and so in this case I have a very good position for Sunday.
Ernst Kirchmeier then, who's put the car on pole position within class. He is the Shell driver. This is our pole sitter in the AMS, and that is Boris Gideon. And he, the Formula Racing driver. Let's hear from him now.
Boris, a very amazing pole position in this weekend of a final round.
Yes, very nice qualifying. Extremely amazed, but let's see what the race will do. And let's speak in 30 minutes. Thanks.
Short and sweet from Boris, and thanks to Michele Mambelli down there, grabbing us the pole position drivers from each class within the category of Coppa Shell. So we heard from Ernst Kirchmeier. He's the Shell driver leading the way, pole position for the grid overall and pole position in his class. And then Boris Gideon, we have just heard from. He actually starts on the second row of the grid. He goes from P4, but it is P1 within class. And as Ernst Kirchmeier mentioned, it's critical with regards to their grid positions when it comes to the World Final race, or World Final races, which will be on Sunday. We're looking at the Corinna Gosner car, nice wave, and there is Corinna for CDP MP Racing. And Corinna Gosner then, her qualifying sees her P6 in class, and that's P10 overall. Now, this is the 178 car of Axel Sardinger, who at one point during the qualifying was top. And he was right at the very top of the timing chart, but just got bested by Roger Grols and Ernst Kirchmeier. So he goes from P3 on the grid for Lueg Sportivo. Now, Christian Kinch, he goes from P4 on the grid. He's further back on the grid than he wanted to be. And he was a bit disappointed during the qualifying session. You could see the frustration and anger as he felt that there were other drivers and cars that were perhaps in his way and compromised maybe his fastest lap. So Christian Kinch goes from P4 within class, but it's P6 overall. So it's a third row start for Christian Kinch. He'll be disappointed with that. So the 1 minute signal has gone up and we're about to go racing. The first of the Finali Mondiali weekend's race is about to get underway. Coppa Shell drivers champing at the bit to get going here. One missing from the grid, and that is Brad Horseman for Foreign Cars Italia. I think that's the back end of the Eileen Bildman car that we look at there. And there, 30 seconds now. The tension and anticipation really begins to build because we are going to be racing. Rounding out the 2020 season in 2021. We're on board the safety car. Here's the grid in full. Pole position, Ernst Kirchmeier. Alongside is Roger Grols. That'll be a battle into turn one. Axel Sardigan and Boris Gideon are on the second row of the grid. Then we find Mikhail Simoncic and Christian Kinch on the third row. Going from P7 and P8, Alex Fox and Thomas Gosner. Then we find Olander and Gosner going from row 5 on the grid. That's Corinna Gosner, daughter of Thomas. Von Skeltmar and Willem van der Worm share row 6, ahead of Miroslav Weibo and Kevin Milstein going from row 7. Christopher Aitken and Paul Rogers are on the 8th row of the grid, P15 and P16. Werner Genter and Lisa Clark on row 9. And then we find Eileen Bildman going from P19. Good luck to all the drivers. We're about to go racing. And 30 minutes of hot rock race action to come from the Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo cars. You can see some weaving from side to side to try and generate some temperature into those tyres. We're on board with Ernst Kirchmayr. Right behind is Roger Grols. In quali, Roger was bested by Ernst Kirchmayr. That hasn't been the case all season long. Ernst will feel he has achieved a good psychological battle by beating Roger Grols into that P1 position. It'll all tense up going into turns 1, 2 and 3, which come thick and fast. When the lights go green, the cars will line up behind the safety car, and then they will be led away on to the start-finish straight. The safety car will have peeled off into the pit lane. It will be the responsibility of the front row of the grid, Ernst Kirchmayr and Roger Grols, to control the pace of the rolling lap as they will head towards the green lights. A few turns to come before then, but the cars are now beginning to grid up together, as you can see. It is a good grid of Coppa Shell drivers. They've provided us with some epic racing during a very challenging year, forgive the pun. And we're expecting more of the same this weekend. The Finali Mondiali weekend. Grols, Kirchmayr, side by side. It is Baron Motorsport up against Race Art Kroijmans, the two teams that engineer those first two cars. And all the cars coming into line now. What a lineup. Kirchmayr, Grolgen, Gideon, Simoncic, Ginch, Fox, Gosner, Olander, Gosner, Skeltermar, Van der Vorm, Vibo, Milstein, Aitken, Rogers, Genter, Clark and Bildman. So there, the safety car peels off into the pit lane. Stand by. We are about to go racing. We await the green flag. We await the green light as the cars head up the hill now. Hold on to your hats. And a very early start procedure as the lights go green. Kirchmayr leading Grols into turn 1. And if all the cars make it through turn 1, 2 and 3 with no skirmishes, we'll have done jolly well indeed. Because it's a big grid of cars and thankfully they all get through the first sequence of turns pretty well indeed. Kirchmayr, Grols, Sardingen, Boris Gideon already on the back of Sardingen trying to find a way past. And behind them is Mikhail Simoncic and Christian Kinch. Christian Kinch being hooded and attacked by Corinna Gosner and also Thomas Gosner as well. So Kirchmayr beginning to stretch his legs a little bit and build up a bit of a margin over himself and Roger Grols. Grols certainly during qualifying did not look absolutely completely comfortable with the car. Kirchmayr certainly does look pretty quick and has built up some 0.6 of margin over P1 and P2 already. So it's Kirchmayr and Grols, P1 and P2 in terms of the Shell drivers, and Boris Gideon and Simoncic doing a very, very good job, P1 and P2 within the AM class. Simoncic moving past Christian Kinch, so good job being done there. High time I introduced alongside me, race summariser, all-round good bloke, and he brought me a cup of tea up here as well. That's Nico Spalek.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, a very, very clean first few turns. That first chicane with those 3 turns is always a pinch point on lap 1. And we've seen some great overtaking through that. But thus far, Kirchmayr really puts the hammer down, not looking in the rearview mirror, but just driving his race. Grols can keep up with him. Behind them, starting, there's already a small gap. And Simoncic has closed the gap to Gideon. So they will battle it out, for the moment at least, for the lead in the AMs.
Absolutely right. Simoncic can see the potential of leading the AMs, and what's preventing him from doing that? Well, it is the 103 car of Boris Gideon. Now, Boris is being relatively held up by Axel Sardingen here, surprisingly. So, Boris is not able to escape up the road, therefore Simoncic is right on his tail. And there is Mikhail Simoncic in the 196 car. And he is really, really beginning to harry Boris Gideon ahead of him. Just see in the background von Skeltermar as well. There is Corinna Gosner right behind Christian Kinch, who's running in P6 at the moment. Kinch is P4 within class because we have the mix of both the Shell and the Shell AM drivers. For the moment, Ernst Kirchmayr able to show a clean pair of heels to Roger Grols. I think Corinna Gosner might go for an overtake because it looks like she's got better pace than Christian Kinch. There they go past that camera. Absolutely full chat flat. What can Corinna do? She's got to try and find the... Oh, and we've had it coming together there. Around goes Miroslav Weibo. Also having gone around is... can't quite see that. I think it was Olander, Joachim Olander. And here in replay, well done to our director, getting on that replay straight away. There you can see connection at the back of the Olander car. All he was doing was braking, trying to avoid the spinning car ahead of him. So lumped up the bottom through no fault of his own, really. So Kirchmayr then, 4/10. So the gap has come down a little bit. Grols is beginning to reel him in. Of course, tyre temperature beginning to come to these drivers now with a couple of laps completed. So the tyres are beginning to get up to temperature now. Ernst and Roger have had some fantastic battles all season long. And the battles have been fraught, they've been fast, they've been firm. But they've also been fair, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen those two driving very close to each other, but never unfairly. And we've got a safety car, which obviously will eliminate all exciting action for the moment. But I think the Olander car was left stranded on the road. And as you pointed out, there was one car going sideways. Olander tried to brake and there was hit. Yeah, there is the car in the background, the white car, and there you can already see the recovery vehicle coming in.
Claudio Garavini is our race director, and he's chosen for the safety car to come out. There's no alternative to that because, as you can see, where the Joachim Olander car from Scuderia Autoropa is stuck, there was no way of being able to safely recover that unless the race was neutralised, which is exactly what they've done with the safety car. In comes Miroslav Weibo, who was one of the affected parties in that, and Miroslav, great driver, great guy as well. Hopefully, Scuderia Prague, who are a very, very efficient team, will get him back out again. So Kirchmayr then, whose gap, it was kind of between 6 and 4/10. As we see a replay of the start now, and tell you what, Grols was right with him, but Kirchmayr, just going into turn 1, was able to best Roger Grols. We'll see it from a different angle here. And I was really concerned through turns 1, 2, and 3 that we may see some contact, but fair play to all our Coppa Shell drivers. It was keen and clean through turns 1, 2, and 3. That was the original start that we're watching. And Roger Grols was going to try and keep with Ernst Kirchmayr. Thomas Gosner then, you could just see getting past. We're live now with the safety car. And there you can see the Miroslav Weibo car, who has returned from the pit lane. Now, I suspect that Claudio Garavini will allow Miroslav Weibo to go by the safety car and catch up with the crocodile of cars because he's out of position there. And for safety reasons, I'm sure they will allow Miroslav Weibo to go past the safety car and then catch up with the rest of the pack. I think that would be the case. Don't you, Nico?
That would definitely make it a clearer picture for all of us because he, as you say, he's really stranded in there. The other driver, incidentally, who was caught up in that accident was Kevin Milstein. And for him, that's quite dramatic because he is still fighting in the North American Coppa Shell standings with Brett Horstman. And currently doesn't look like he will be able to continue that fight until tomorrow because right now he is in the pits and not running anymore. And if he scores 0 points today, that will be it for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that does give advantage Brad Horstman, who is currently P8 within class. So top 3 overtakes, Lisa Clark, Christopher Aiken and Werner Genter then. You can see 3 overtakes for each of them. But 3 laps did we have before the safety car was called? I think it was. Maybe it was only 2. But in any event, for the moment, the cars are still behind Still behind the safety car. There is Bradley Horseman in the 305 car. Ahead of him was the Ferrari of Long Island car of Eileen Bildman. And we're on board with Ernst Kirchmayr now. And we remain behind the safety car for at least another lap, because we've just crossed the timing line. 22 minutes remaining in the race. Kirchmayr, Grohl, Sardingen, the top three Shell drivers. Gideon, Simoncic and Fox, the top three AM drivers. With regards to Europe, both the Coppa Shell Championships have been won before we've got to effectively the final round of the 2020 season. Roger Grohl's winning Coppa Shell and Alex Fox winning Coppa Shell AM. To music now, some replay of some of the incidents and actions in the first couple of laps. So we're back live, and sure enough, Miroslav Weibo has been released and has gone past the safety car, and therefore will pick up at the back of the grid. So safety car coming in at the conclusion of this lap, and we can go back to racing again. Roger Grohl will see this as a potential opportunity to really try and anticipate when Ernst Kirchmayr is going to give it 100% on the loud pedal and try and take advantage and stay with him and minimize the margin between P1 and P2. What it will do, of course, is it will re-provide some action for us going into turns 1, 2, and 3 in terms of the pinch point through those early turns. Although the cars will not be necessarily side by side, they'll all bunch together once again. That's a result of the safety car, which has cleared off up the road now, so it is down to Ernst Kirchmayr to control the pace of the restart. He's heading up towards the final sequence of turns. We're in the stadium of the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli, and as you can see, Roger Grohl has not really anticipated when Ernst Kirchmayr is going to go for it, because Ernst Kirchmayr has done a brilliant job at this restart. But we go green once again, and let's go back to racing. Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell. We're live from Misano. Roger Grohl, I fear, rather caught napping there by the Ernst Kirchmayr restart, because Ernst has already got very nearly a second between himself and the second-place driver. Okay, Corinna Gosner now re-continues her fight with Christian Kinch and is all over the 128 car ahead, trying to find a way by, has to brake because Christian Kinch made the car very wide, and that prevented Corinna Gosner from going through, and it's absolutely his right to do that. Defend wherever you can. And Corinna Gosner being followed by her father, Thomas Gosner. Big fight that's going on for P4 and P5 in this race. And of course it is for P4 and P5 within class. It's P6 and P7 in the race overall. Here comes Corinna Gosner to the outside. Now looks at the inside, but Christian Kinch, very wily. He knows exactly where to place that car to prevent any potential overtake. Thus far from Corinna Gosner. And with Thomas perhaps joining in as well, it's Kirchmayr from Sardingen. Then it's Kinch, Gosner, Skeltermar, Horstman, Milstein, of course, we've seen retire into the pit. Kinch running a bit wide there, getting something of a solution to carry more speed into the next turn. Corinna Gosner altogether much tighter and perhaps cleaner. And does that give her a bit of an advantage now? As they head up to turn number 16, can Corinna get alongside Christian Kinch and out-drag going into turn number 1? He gets the draft. Back up Christian car. Now try and dive to the inside, but discretion the better part of that. As Christian blows the door, but there is question about it that Corinna goes quicker than Kinch. And Corinna everything she can to by the 2-8 car, but thus far is being denied. It's brilliant between the two of them, Nico.
Absolutely, and if you think that Corinna's got her father behind her and he will not pounce an opportunity to go out, then you are dead wrong. This is a family, but it is a competitive family. So Corinna does have to watch her mirrors a little bit at least and not be caught out from behind. But obviously her focus right now is Christian. She wants to get that place that Christian has, and I think this battle is far from over, as is this one between Kirchmeier and Grols. 1 second between 17 minutes plus 2 races.
You're absolutely right. What doing? Thomas will be very clever about this. He'll let all the work, and then he'll try and just slip through unnoticed. Meanwhile, we are back with the leaders, Roger Grols. There you can see Manuela Gosner. Alongside her, you can just see Massimo Pepe, the principal of the MP team that engineers the cars. Sir Ernst Kirchmeier then ahead of Roger Grols, P2. We'll get a live gap from you as they cross the timing line rather. It was 7 tenths, it's now down to 6.5 tenths. So Roger Grols has just found a little bit, and Mikhail Simoncic, for the moment, has still not been able to find a way past Boris Gideon. That's for P1 in the AM battle. So that's currently being led by Boris Gideon, but Mikhail Simoncic from Baron Motorsport is really pushing the Formula Racing driver, Boris Gideon. You can see those two, virtually nothing between, just a couple of tenths between them. And this is the fight for P1 in terms of the AM class of the Coppa Shell. Very nearly half distance already in this race. Of course, punctuated by that early safety car. And Roger Grols now sets the fastest lap, a 1:37.052. So clearly the Racehart Kroijmans driver does mean business. But we return to this battle, which is the AM battle. Boris Gideon, Mikhail Simoncic. This is the Shell battle. It's Ernst Kirchmeier, Roger Grols. Axel Sardingen is kind of out on his own, really, because the more that Gideon and Simoncic are fighting means that Sardingen is able to get away, but Sardingen is not quite able to get on to the pace of Roger Grols and get onto the back of him. Meantime, this man, Ernst Kirchmeier, has not put a foot wrong. Is Roger just playing with Ernst Kirchmeier? Is he just thinking, right, I'm going to push, but not push too hard. I'm going to leave it to the final part of the race, and then I'm really going to have a go and really put the pressure on. Psychology may be that. He certainly looks a bit closer as they cross the timing line now. Absolutely down to 3 tenths between Kirchmeier and Grols. Slowly, slowly, Roger Grols is reeling in Ernst Kirchmeier. It's all very well reeling him in, though, Nico. He's got to find a way by as well.
Absolutely. I mean, Roger has shown his ability to pounce at an opportune moment, including on this very track a few months ago. So Ernst has to really be on the lookout every single turn, every opportunity where you can overtake, and some spots where you actually can't, but, you know, Roger may have a go. So this is really close, and Boris Gideon and Mikhail Simoncic in the AMs, that got very, very narrow there, are also coming closer and closer together, just a few tenths between them. Simoncic with the fastest lap in the AMs. Boris Gideon retaliated his fastest lap of the race, so it's really close among both the AMs and the Shell drivers.
Thank you, Nico. These two are welded together. Look at this. Grols is right on the gearbox of Kirchmeier. So Ernst Kirchmeier placing the car cleverly to make sure that he's not leaving any centimetre of tarmac available for Roger Grols in terms of an overtake. Very clever driving and defensive driving from Ernst Kirchmeier. But the margin, it was 2.5 tenths. Last time they crossed the timing line. I suspect it may even be less than that now, although now Ernst Kirchmeier does seem to get a second wind, and sure enough, he's put another tenth on Roger Grols. But under braking into turn 1, Grols gets a little bit closer. I really think that Roger is trying to out-psych him here, and he'll just let him do all the hard work, and then with but a few laps remaining, that's when he'll really, really envelop his charge. But just keep an eye on Axel Sardingen. He's getting a bit closer, because the more these two fight, of course, it slows them. The battle slows them. And therefore, look at this. In the red Lueg Sportivo car, it's Axel Sartingen who's getting a good bit closer. And so too, Boris Gideon has really left Mikhail Simoncic behind now, where once they were virtually welded together, P1 and P2 in the AMs, well, there's quite a gap between the two of them now. Meantime, Roger Grols making sure that Ernst Kirchmayer's rear screen is full of the Roger Grols car. And for the moment, though, Roger is once again denied. But you can't help but feel, over the last couple of laps, Nico, he has really, really increased his predatory presence, if I can put it that way.
Yeah, he's definitely shown, Ernst, that, you know, you cannot focus on your own race. You always have to be mindful of the mirror. And Sartingen is now beginning to do the same on Grols. Meanwhile, we also have a little bit of a look at the timing screen, and track limit warnings issued left and right, including Rogers, who's already received his final warning. Very stern from the headmaster up in race control. But we focus ourselves here on the front.
This is getting closer than close. Claudio Garavini, then race director, he is controlling the messages, and here comes Roger Grols, almost to the inside of Ernst Kirchmayer. And look at this, Axel Sartingen is right on the back of both of them now. And of course, if Roger and Ernst come to blows, Axel's just thinking, do you know what? I could have P1 here. I'm going to let them fight and just be in a position to be able to take it. Grols takes a look at the inside. He's not quite close enough. Well, as Claudio Garavini, of course, keeps an eye on the track limits. Our race director, he'll be keeping an eye on this fight as well. But actually, all their competitive racing during the course of this season has been really firm but really fair, as we mentioned earlier on in the program. They have immense respect for each other, and their racing has been so enjoyable. And really, it's just a continuation of the season. Even though we are in 2021, this is the second to last race for the 2020 season in terms of the Coppa Shell Championship. Roger Grols is already champion, but Ernst Kirchmayer wants to go out on a high. And at the moment, that high is P1. Roger Grols is P2. Axel Sartingen is P3. We've got less than 10 minutes of this race remaining. So where can Roger Grols have a go? He's trying to get the draft off the back of the Kirchmayer car. He's not close enough to be able to dive to the inside going into turn number 1. He keeps the pressure on, the Baron Motorsport driver. And you can see that Roger is just beginning to take a little bit more curb and just be ever more aggressive in his pursuit of the 109 car, which is P1, leading the way in terms of the Shell drivers. It's Boris Gideon continues his quest in P1 in terms of the AMs, with Mikhail Simoncic P2 and Alex Fox is P3. The top 3 Shell drivers you can see in screen now, and Axel Sartingen then getting closer. This is the Eileen Bildman car, and the drivers are now beginning to pick up on some of those right at the back of the pack, like Bildman and Vibo and Horseman. So they're going to have traffic to contend with as well. But great driving there, and just not impinging on the battle that's going on. Well done, Eileen. Great driving. So the top 3 have come through. Roger Grols continues to push and push and push. And I mean, to be fair, the relentless pressure that he has put on Kirchmayer over the last few laps, Kirchmayer has not made a mistake. And he's just soaked up the pressure and continues to just not think about looking behind him, just focus on the tarmac ahead. You can hear the brakes squeal in protest as they turn in to turn 16, and now on their way up the start-finish straight once again, past our commentary position here, high in the grandstand, and the race control building. The margin between them, 5/10. It has been relentless. I'm really impressed with Ernst, who has not yielded to that pressure Nico Handa he hasn't put a wheel wrong.
Absolutely, he has been cool as a cucumber, but so have Grols and Sartingen, who have driven with their heads as much as with their brawn, if you will. Very calm, very collected, aggressive, but never overstepping the line. And it's so easy to do that when you're that close and you come to blows with another car, even though you don't want to. Here Gross goes a little bit wide. That's something that Claudio Garavini will have a look and an eye on. And 7 minutes to go. This is set up for a nice finish. And, you know, we always want championships to go to the final race, but now that they're decided, it allows the drivers to really focus on the here and now. This is for the win in this race. No tactics.
That brawn, was that the Ross brawn you were talking about there? What really fascinates me about this circuit, the Misano circuit, which is difficult, and something that you brought up earlier on in the program, Nico, is the fact that by exceeding the track limits in certain places, you can get something of a slingshot, which offers you a good opportunity, perhaps going into the next turn. And I think race control are ever minded of that, aren't they? And they're keeping an eye on that. Now there, Roger Grohl's carrying so much speed, he's almost forced to go and exceed the track limits, but it will be being looked at, and if it is deemed that he has potentially gained an advantage from exceeding the track limits, that will be punished, that will be looked at. So Kirchmayr, for my money, doing a brilliant job. Grohl's, whatever he has thrown at him, has not been able to get past him. Just trying to pick out which car that is that's gone around and where that car is. Oh, well, that was because a move then on the grass from Christopher Aitken and a collision with the Armco. That's the Christopher Aitken car from Ferrari of Houston. Now, if that car cannot be moved from there, what have we got? 5 3/4 minutes of the race left. Just see what happens there. Whoa! Grohl's to the inside of Kirchmayr now. He's almost off the tarmac, almost on the grass. Kirchmayr, though, as Nico said earlier, remaining his cucumber-like coolness and was able to just maintain his speed, maintain his momentum. And for all of Roger's trying, he's not been able to find a way past yet. Both of these drivers will have taken the maximum out of their rubber, and grip will be just beginning to be perhaps a little compromised than it was at the start of the race. There is Fons Skeltemer, who's currently running P7 in class, chasing down Thomas Gostner. Boy, those two have had history this season. Corinna Gostner ahead. Corinna Gostner, of course, was at one point really pressuring Christian Kinch, but Christian's been able to build a couple of seconds gap now over the Corinna Gostner car. And as my learned friend said earlier, if Thomas Gostner sees an opportunity to get past his daughter, there'll be no family friendship, he'll jolly well do it. Meantime, back to the front of the pack, and for the moment, Kirchmayr, with 4.5 minutes remaining, seems to have just seen off the challenge from Roger Grohl's for the moment, but I feel sure that this race, as far as Roger is concerned, is not done yet, and he will be prepared to have another go at some point. Brilliant driving from Boris Gideon, who has really left Mikhail Simoncic in his wake, and therefore Boris Gideon, barring any disaster with something of a 5-second margin over Mikhail Simoncic, should have this absolutely nailed. Same cannot be said necessarily for Ernst Kirchmayr, who is still being pressured. So there, Grohl's just took a look at the inside of Kirchmayr. But for the moment, Ernst is able to... Oh, and around has gone Corinna Gostner. I interrupt myself, but Corinna Gostner has gone around, and that means that Thomas inevitably will be ahead of her, and probably Fons Skeltemer as well. And that will reason for that. Nico, that looked like Fons's overtake came from a little way back, really. Oh, no, to be fair, apologies, Fons. Corinna got out of shape going into the turn.
Yeah, it looked like it, and Thomas had gone past Corinna before, as we could see, he had already advanced. And then, as you said, first view, it looked like Fons had been a little overambitious, but indeed, I mean, Corinna got a little sideways, and you can't blame Fons for seeing that gap being there, and Corinna recovered and tried to get back onto her line, but by then there was a little bit of the shark teeth fronted 488 challenge of von Skeltema in the way, and I rather think that was more unfortunate than anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. First shot we saw, it looked like Fons had come from a way back. Take that back and apologise unreservedly. Corinna got just a little out of shape. That presented the opportunity to Fons. The gap was presented to him. Of course, he's going to go for it. Ernst Kirschmeyer has not presented any sort of a gap to Roger Grols. And with 2 minutes remaining, so that means the... where are they on the track? Whether it's the remainder of this lap plus one more. Roger again steps up the ambition, if you like, to try and get by Ernst. But Ernst really has driven such a good line. And it is difficult to overtake here at Misano on occasions. You've got to be really prepared to go the extra bit. And Roger has certainly been prepared to find a way past the car. Yeah, sure enough, we're on the final lap. It's now or never for Roger Grols against Ernst Kirschmeyer. So there's Kirschmeyer, there's Grols. Axel Sardigan is P3. The top three on track are the top three Shell drivers. In terms of the AMs, it's Boris Gideon, Mikhail Simončić, and Alex Fox. So there you can see the evolution across the last 3 laps between Kirschmeyer and Grols. And Grols certainly a bit quicker over 2 of the last 3 laps, but it's all very well being quicker. It's all very well being able to get on terms. You've got to try and find a way by, and thus far, he has been denied. And as you can see, he's trying everything he can. Top overtakes come from Werner Genter, 6. Lisa Clark, 4. Bradley Horstman, 4. That was an attempt from Roger Grols, which did not pay off. Now, whether Ernst just missed his braking point, and that was decisive and avoiding action from Roger Grols, not sure. They'll have a tale to tell about that, I'm sure. No, I think Roger was just probably carrying a little bit too much speed. Did well to keep it on the tarmac, though, and out of the gravel, which means that he will be able to bank that second place. But I think, barring any disaster over the final turns, that Ernst Kirschmeyer has done enough here. He rounds turn number 16 now and heads for home, and the checkered flag awaits. Ernst Kirschmeyer victorious in Coppa Shell race 1 of the weekend. Roger Grols P2, Axel Sardigan P3. Boris Gideon wins in the AM drivers. And then it will be a little gap before we see Mikhail Simončić. Then it will be Christian Kinch and Thomas Gostner and Fons Skeltema. And Alex Fox will bank P3 in terms of the AM drivers. Nico, that was a very exciting race.
Yeah, absolutely. If you only look at the number of actual overtakes, it maybe isn't that impressive, but we had some great battles all across the pack, from Kirschmeyer and Grols, obviously prominently, but Kinch, Gostner, Skeltema, some great driving and really fair driving, you have to say, and very happy to see lots of great overtakes attempted, sometimes completed, and very happy to see all the cars in one piece, thinking ahead to tomorrow and Sunday, because you really don't want to ruin your car ahead of the World Finals, do you?
You're right. Boris Gideon then, winner of the AM class within the Coppa Shell. Ernst Kirschmeyer, winner of the Shell drivers. Great race. Really enjoyed that. The battle between Roger Grols and Ernst Kirschmeyer was really fraught, but everything that Roger was able to throw at Ernst was able to bat it away and did a very good job in defending. Great job. And Mikhail Simončić towards the start of the race really took it to Boris Gideon, but Boris was able to eke out a gap and ensure the victory in the AM drivers. There is Corinna Gostner, who finishes P7 in class, P11 overall, following that go around. And big thank you to all the marshals that ensure that we are racing here in Misano. Without those volunteers, we couldn't do what we love doing, and that is motor racing. So big thanks to them and the whole team here at Misano, where we've been made exceptionally welcome. So there, the Corinna Gosner car. Incidentally, Corinna and Fons are being told to report after the race. There's Eileen Bildman, who finishes P9 in class, P17 overall. Love the livery on that 379 car. Here is our Victor, congratulated by Franz, and Philip Barron will be in there somewhere, that's for sure, to congratulate Ernst Kirschmeier. I had a fantastic opportunity to have a great chat with Ernst Kirschmeier early in 2020, and we had lots of laughs. Super character. Philip Barron there, sure enough, congratulating him.
And critiquing some minor mistakes. I mean, he is
Naturally.
just, you know, naturally. Perfection.
Here's the classification. Ernst Kirschmeier, Roger Grols, Axel Sardingen. P1, 2 and 3 in the race overall, and certainly the top 3 in terms of Coppa Shell. It's Boris Gideon, Mikhail Simoncic, and Alex Fox, the top 3 in terms of the AM drivers. The rest of the order there, as you can see. And we're hoping to catch up with Ernst Kirschmeier and potentially also Boris Gideon down there in pit lane and Parc Fermé if we possibly can. So there they are. Standing by is Michele Mambelli, I'm sure, to try and have a conversation with them. So Boris Gideon from Formula Racing doing a very, very good job and taking the win in the AM class. So let's go down to Parc Fermé. Michele Mambelli, try and get hold of our race winners.
Race, a big battle with Roger Growers, and now you have the first position in the first race.
Absolutely, it was so difficult because he pushed me so much. I couldn't make a mistake, so I was always under pressure. And thanks God, I could reach the number 1 because he won too much this year. So for all which are looking television would like to see new faces, of course. Sorry, Roger.
I have a new face.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Go ahead with your new face.
Roger appears to have lost his razor. Don't know what's happened there, Roger. I have a new face, that's why. And they're just an example of how fair they are with each other and how much immense respect there is between Kirschmeier and Grols. They've fought and fought and fought all season long, and Ernst knows that he couldn't, despite what Philip Barron may have said in terms of critiquing him, he couldn't make a mistake, could he, Nico?
Yeah, definitely. And in spite of the razor thing, I think they were both pretty sharp today. And here are some very sharp action images from this race.
Razor sharp, Nicholas Spalek's wit, as always. Let's take a look at the highlights of race 1 of our Finali Mondiali weekend right now. So the highlights of race one of our Finali Mondiali weekend. As you can see, plenty of development going on here at the Misano World Circuit Marco Simoncelli. Let's take a look at the race statistics then. 17 laps the total, and overtakes 31 in AM and 14 in Shell. Best progress, Brad Horseman for the Shell drivers. Lisa Clark, well done, Lisa, in the AMs. And fastest laps, as you can see, Roger Grols and Boris Gideon. So we're going to be going up to the podium next to celebrate our top three drivers. And as always, Michele Mambelli will be down there, or up there, depending on which way you look at it, to host the podium ceremonies, which should come for both the Shell drivers and also for the AM drivers as well. The drivers we'll see on the podium: Kirschmeyer, Grols and Sardingen for the Shell drivers, and Gideon, Simoncic and Fox for the AM drivers. And there you can see just a shot there of the drivers preparing. And this is behind the podium. They'll be hauled out onto the podium. Well, not hauled out, but gracefully sent towards the podium as and when their names are called to enjoy their celebrations up there. There is Michele Mambelli making a rare appearance on screen. Let's hear from him now.
Shall race one. Third on the podium, Axel Sardingen. And second step on the podium, Roger Grols. And the winner of first race, Shell Cup, Ernst Kirchmeier. National anthem. Our claps for the podium, for this winner podium. Gentlemen, lift your trophy up and step on the first step of this podium, okay? Thank you very much. Photos and image from Misano Adriatico for this first race 2020. And thank you very much.
So the top three drivers in the Shell class: Axel Sardingen, Roger Grols and Ernst Kirchmeier. Here they are with their cars on the track. Taking P3 then, Axel Sardingen for Lueg Sportivo. A hugely consistent season and a championship winning season for the guy that was P2 today, Roger Grols. And on the top step of the podium for Coppa Shell, for Baron Motorsport, Ernst Kirchmeier. So we are standing by for the AM podium to come. And as if by magic, here they come.
Race one, con Simoncic. And the winner is Boris Gideon. And now national anthem. claps for this winner podium. Gentlemen, take your trophy and lift it. All together on the first step. Thank you. Okay, and see for photos and images on the pit lane. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So the top three drivers that we have seen on the podium, let's see them in their cars now. This was Alex Fox, who took P3 in race 1 for Coppa Shell. Drove really hard at the beginning of the race and almost troubled Boris Gideon. This is Mikhail Simoncic for Baron Motorsport, P2. And P1, the race winner for Formula Racing, Boris Gideon. So there we have it, the podium's done and dusted, not quite.
On the podium is the winner, Brad Horseman.
Because we've seen the European podiums, here come the USA podiums now. Bradley Horseman.
Okay, Brad, we haven't at this moment the national helmet. Can you take your trophy and lift it for photos? And
Bradley Horseman holds his trophy aloft. Ah.
And now we have.
Well, better late than never, it played out.
Your trophy. Lift it and see photos for this image.
So the North American Brad Horseman for Foreign Cars Italia. And of course has really helped him in terms of the Coppa Shell Championship for North America. And of course we will have the North American podium to come.
Third position, third step of the podium, Chris Aitken.
Here comes Chris Aitken. Then it'll be Eileen Bildman and then Lisa Clark. That way. Turn rights up. Thank you.
And the second place, Miss Helen Bildman. Second step on the podium, and the winner is Lisa Clark, the winner of this second race, Shell Am North American Challenger. National anthem. Thank you very much. Claps and claps for this podium. Ladies and gentlemen, take your trophy and lift it for photos. Take your trophy.
So well done to Lisa, well done to Eileen, and well done to Christopher as well, up there on the podium for North America. Here we can see the car of Lisa Clark. Ever present in the Ferrari Challenge. Very good racer. And P1 on the podium for North America in the Shell Am class. So there, the Misano World Circuit, Marco Simoncelli. All the podiums are done. From Nico and me, bye-bye for now.